Okay, if you take a close look at these devices here, these are devices made by Seed Studio, and they have a kind of a standard connector, but the connectors connect with different formats. And if you take a close look here, we're going to zoom in, you can see that there are 4 wires and they have names. So you can see ground, VCC. VCC means voltage, 5 volts specifically. NC means no connection, and then SIG is the final wire. And that's where the voltage that represents the amount of light is passed. So the sensor needs some power, so we've got ground and voltage. And then we have one cable for the voltage that measures the light. That's an analog sensor. Comparatively speaking, we've got the digital sensor here. And if we look at this, you can see ground, VCC, SDA, and SCL. So those are the 4 cables that make up the I2C connection that is used in a lot of places. SDA means the data line, and SCL means the clock line. And ground and VCC are the normal ones. We need some power to run everything, of course, so we need ground and VCC. But in this case, we're going to send all of the numbers digitally down this data line, and this data line is going to be controlled by this clock. So that means we can use a simple sensor like this to measure lots and lots of values simultaneously, and then send them in order down a data line. So this is a common way of having a digital chip on a sensor board and then passing lots of data to a computer at the same time. And this is quite easy to interface into a Raspberry Pi without any add-on boards at all being necessary. To use any of the analog sensors, you'll need an Arduino connected by USB, or some other type of add-on board that allows you to connect to an analog to digital converter to your Raspberry Pi. Okay, for some sensors, however, the Raspberry Pi can't connect with I2C because I2C doesn't give the required connections necessarily. So a good example of that is the camera board here. So this is a Raspberry Pi camera, and it has this ribbon cable with a number of contacts on the end here, as you can see. And to connect that, you plug it into the Raspberry Pi here and close that down. It's a standard connector called a CSI connector for cameras for the Raspberry Pi, and it provides enough connections that the amount of data that's going to be necessary to pass down that connection can indeed be connected. So cameras are a bit different, and they have their own special connector.